The woman in pink showed a wary expression, her brow furrowed as the snowflake mark on her forehead flickered constantly. She was extremely nervous at this moment. In this eerily quiet magma, she had no ability to stop the actions of the other party. The only thing she could rely on was the snowflake mark on her forehead, a defensive treasure given to her by her senior sister. "Are you the holy maiden of Kungsu?" Wang Lin fixed his gaze on the woman in pink, calmly sending out his divine sense. As soon as his divine sense extended, it immediately merged with the magma, turning into ripples that reverberated and caused violent turbulence in the bubble the woman in pink was inside, as though it could collapse at any moment. The woman's face immediately turned pale, biting her lower lip as she shook her head and said, "I am not the holy maiden of Kungsu, my senior sister is." "What is your relationship with her?" Wang Lin pointed at the rustic beauty and asked. "She is an elder of the Kungsu realm." The woman in pink did not dare to refuse answering. At this moment, if Wang Lin were to pierce the bubble, she might be able to resist the magma with her treasure, but the rustic beauty beside her would immediately be engulfed by the magma, further worsening her body, already affected by the fire toxin, to the point where her life and spirit might be completely obliterated. "Void Master has dealings with you, but we have not offended you." Before the woman in pink could finish speaking, her pupils shrank, and she quickly stepped back, her snowflake mark on her forehead suddenly transforming and flashing in front of her. Wang Lin, during her speech, had already stepped through the bubble in one stride and stood directly in front of the woman in pink. "Put away your treasure." Wang Lin entered the bubble and crouched down, his gaze falling on the unconscious rustic beauty. His eyes glinted with strange light. As for the woman in pink, Wang Lin completely disregarded her. Even though she had the treasure resembling snowflakes, Wang Lin didn't find it worthy of attention. "What are you going to do?" The woman in pink's heart raced as she saw Wang Lin's right hand lift and move toward the rustic beauty's forehead. She immediately raised her voice in an attempt to stop him. However, just as she was about to act, Wang Lin did not turn back. Instead, he casually pointed his left hand behind him. Annoying. The body immobilization art was suddenly invoked, and the woman in pink's body froze in place. Although she was immobilized, the snowflakes in front of her turned into countless marks, swirling around her body to form a tight defense. Wang Lin paid no more attention to the woman in pink, and instead placed his right index finger on the rustic beauty's forehead. Seizing the opportunity while she was overwhelmed by the fire toxin, and her primordial spirit was weak and her mind clouded, his divine sense surged through his finger and entered her body, sweeping across her mental consciousness. Scenes from the rustic beauty's memories instantly appeared in Wang Lin's mind. Although this woman's cultivation was higher than his, under the current conditions, Wang Lin was able to catch a glimpse of her memories with his divine sense. The woman's life or death was irrelevant to Wang Lin. What he sought were her memories. Any memories related to the Kungsu realm were of paramount importance to Wang Lin. His true reason for wanting to understand the Kungsu realm was the figure he had seen in the Kungsu realm when his cultivation reached the peak glimpse of nirvana. That figure had caused his heart to ache with intense pain. As Wang Lin combed through the rustic beauty's memories, he gradually gained some understanding of the Kungsu realm. His expression grew increasingly serious, but these weren't the memories he wanted. As his search continued, the rustic beauty's body trembled, her eyelashes fluttered lightly, and her beautiful, mature face flushed with an alluring redness that made one's heart race. Under Wang Lin's soul-searching, the fire toxin within her body could no longer be suppressed and began to show signs of an eruption. The woman in pink, who had been immobilized, showed signs of urgency in her eyes and looked at Wang Lin with a gaze full of hatred. However, she was powerless to resist under Wang Lin's body immobilization art. As Wang Lin scoured the rustic beauty's memories, his body suddenly shook as he found what he was looking for. In her memories, there was a proud figure. This was the very person Wang Lin had seen when his divine sense spread across the Kungsu realm. The holy maiden of Kungsu, Mu Bingmei. Wang Lin's expression grew complicated as he lifted his right finger, ceasing his search of the rustic beauty's memories. The rustic beauty held great reverence for the holy maiden of Kungsu, but her understanding was limited. She only knew that the Holy Maiden's cultivation method was extremely peculiar and had been practiced by almost all previous Holy Maidens. Once perfected, the practitioner would become the strongest in the Kungsu realm. Unfortunately, this cultivation method seemed difficult to master, so, apart from the first-generation Holy Maiden, no one had succeeded. The current seventh-generation Holy Maiden, Mu Bingmei, seemed to have made some progress. Willow eyebrows. Mu Bingmei. Wang Lin's mind was overwhelmed with intense pain, and he could feel that Wang Ping, who was inside the heavenly defying pearl, seemed to be showing signs of awakening due to the fluctuations in his divine sense. Thinking of Wang Ping, Wang Lin's heart felt as though it were being cut by a knife. Wang Ping had always had one wish throughout his life, but he had only ever mentioned it once. After receiving no answer, he never spoke of it again until his life came to an end. He longed, so deeply, to see his mother just once. Wang Lin stood silently, gazing at the woman in pink. From the memories of the rustic beauty, Wang Lin knew that this woman was Lu Mei's junior disciple, practicing the same cultivation method. She was not just a typical elder but had watched the rustic beauty grow up, eventually becoming Lu Mei's junior. A cold light flickered in Wang Lin's eyes as he spoke calmly. If I don't save her, she will undoubtedly die within a single incense stick's time. The rustic beauty's body now had a healthy red glow, but it was a strange, almost bewitching red. A large amount of sweat oozed from her body, only to quickly evaporate into wisps of white mist. If this continued, she would soon become a dry corpse, her primordial spirit shattering and vanishing. In truth, even without Wang Lin searching her memories, the rustic beauty wouldn't have lasted much longer. Though she might live a little longer, the result would still be the same. If you agree, we can make a deal. I'll save her and bring both of you into the Grand Hall, to the 8th layer. But you must let me search her memories. Wang Lin said plainly. He gave her a choice. If she agreed, that would be fine, but if she refused, Wang Lin would still take action. The woman in pink let out a bitter laugh, seeing the determination in Wang Lin's words. Being extremely intelligent, she quickly realized that Wang Lin was searching for something within the memories. From her observation, it was certain that what he sought was related to her senior sister. Even if she didn't agree, it wouldn't matter. She nodded and gave up resisting. Wang Lin did not speak further. With a sweep of his sleeve, he immediately gathered both women and stepped forward. In the blink of an eye, they passed through the bubble and headed straight toward the Grand Hall. Soon, they reached the Grand Hall, stepping inside in a single motion. Once inside, Wang Lin formed a seal with his right hand and pointed forward. Instantly, the lava inside the hall began to swirl and rush outward, leaving no lava behind within moments. The doors of the hall slammed shut with a loud bang. Although the lava was gone, the heat remained intense. Wang Lin flicked his sleeve, causing the woman in pink and the rustic beauty to land to the side. He reached out with his right hand and grasped the rustic beauty's body. She flew up, landing before Wang Lin. With several slaps to her body, Wang Lin didn't care that she was a woman. With each slap, her skin turned redder. After half an incense stick's time, her body had turned a fiery red. Wang Lin's right hand suddenly pressed against her crown, sucking in fiercely. Immediately, the fire toxin within her body surged, traveling through her crown and entering Wang Lin's hand. Gradually, the rustic beauty's body returned to normal, though she was extremely weak and collapsed to the side. Now, it's your turn, Wang Lin said, turning to the woman in pink. The woman in pink bit her lip and, after a moment of silence, sat cross-legged on the ground. She pressed her right hand to her forehead, causing the snowflakes around her body to quickly dissipate, eventually vanishing entirely. She closed her eyes and sat still. Wang Lin had no intention of showing any mercy. This was just a transaction. With a swift movement, he pointed to her forehead, and his spiritual sense spread, beginning to search her memories. The woman in pink trembled but gritted her teeth, holding on. Although memory searches could be harmful to her, Wang Lin wasn't a tyrant. As long as she didn't resist, he wouldn't forcibly break through. Everything depended on whether she abandoned all her resistance. As Wang Lin continued his search, he learned more about Mu Bingmei. After a long while, he lifted his right hand, his expression growing more complicated. The Heavenly Soul Path, an illusionary path of the heavenly Tao with a soul. Practitioners of this soul path develop countless avatars, experiencing numerous trials, cultivating different techniques, and gaining countless insights to preserve their original heart. Eventually, when the avatars merge, the heavenly soul path is achieved. The heavenly soul path was the pinnacle of divine techniques within the Kungsu realm. Throughout history, only the first-generation holy maiden had succeeded. Every subsequent holy maiden had failed, losing their original heart and perishing. Mu Bingmei, as the seventh-generation holy maiden, had opened a shortcut using the path of heartlessness, cultivating the heavenly soul path. After creating avatars, she didn't preserve their original hearts but allowed the avatars to survive on their own, developing new consciousnesses, completely unaware of her true self. Only after reaching certain conditions could the memories merge with her true form. The heavenly Tao is heartless, so the avatars must also be heartless. Her avatars were not numerous like those of past holy maidens. She only had 9. These 9 avatars were created in carefully chosen cultivation stars, each calculated after countless trials. The first 8 avatars reached perfection, maintaining their virgin forms when awakened. However, the 9th avatar, named Lu Mei, encountered an accident on Vermilion Bird Star. As for the nature of this accident, the woman in pink didn't know. All she knew was that Lu Mei's senior sister had become embroiled in a struggle because of this 9th avatar. Wang Lin let out a soft sigh. Regarding the Kungsu Holy Maiden, he had already formed a tentative answer in his heart. Though it wasn't complete, with his intelligence and insight, he had seen through part of the truth. After a moment of silence, Wang Lin swept his gaze across the grand hall and quickly located the mechanism to activate it. Activate this formation. You two may now enter the 8th layer. Make good use of it. With that, Wang Lin took a step forward and triggered the teleportation array. His figure vanished instantly. Though he hadn't killed the rustic beauty, he had erased all her memories related to his secrets during the memory search. Moreover, he had secretly placed a restriction seal in her mind. If she continued to pester him, he would trigger it, shattering her mental essence entirely. The moment Wang Lin stepped into the 8th layer of the Immortal Emperor's cave mansion, a series of deafening rumbles greeted him from afar. The overwhelming surges of primordial energy echoed wildly through the area. This 8th layer was shrouded in utter darkness, completely enveloped by black mist. Divine sense couldn't extend, and visibility was nearly zero. Yet the rumbling grew increasingly urgent, with faint, furious roars echoing through the void. Judging by the sound, it seemed to be Ling Tianhou. Wang Lin's eyes grew solemn as he listened intently. After a moment, he began to retreat. But just as he moved back, the black mist ahead roiled violently. Ling Tianhou burst forth in a flash. He looked utterly disheveled, his face pale with terror. On his chest was a blackened handprint that had torn through his robes and seared directly onto his skin. As he moved forward, streams of black mist converged upon that mark, feeding into it. Behind him, a demonic shadow surged through the fog, stirring it into the form of a massive demon head, which lunged toward Ling Tianhou, intent on devouring him whole. Terror deepened in Ling Tianhou's eyes. Yet with gritted teeth, he spun around and spat out a surge of spirit qi. At the same time, he clawed the air before him. Instantly, a tear opened in the void, red light flickering within. From that rift, his Kirin beast charged out with a thunderous snarl, charging straight at the demon head. The Kirin was gravely wounded, blood gushing from its body. Pain filled Ling Tianhou's eyes, but the danger left him no time to hesitate. He shouted, "Bloodthirst!" As he spoke, he slapped his brow with his right hand. The last 2 primordial spirit swords on his back instantly shot forward, not toward the demon head, but straight at the Kirin. The Kirin let out a sorrowful cry, but didn't resist. It allowed the swords to pierce through its body, spraying blood that filled a 100-foot radius like a crimson mist. "Beast soul, arise!" Ling Tianhou roared. With a thunderous explosion, the Kirin's body collapsed. As blood rained down, a shimmering Kirin soul emerged from the remains. The instant it appeared, it let out a silent, soul-piercing howl, a sound inaudible to the ears, but crashing like thunder within Wang Lin's essence spirit. The Kirin's soul charged forward, clashing with the demon head, biting and grappling in a desperate attempt to stall its advance. Ling Tianho's eyes, filled with bloodshot veins, stared at the scene with anguish. That Kirin had been with him for countless years, an inseparable part of his life. Yet now, he had been forced to kill it with his own hands, using its blood to summon and awaken its soul. Letting out a low growl, Ling Tianho formed a complex hand seal and pointed forward. The blood all around surged wildly, drawn toward the demon head entangled with the Kirin soul. A faint golden hue ran through the blood, and as it pierced through, the surrounding black mist dissipated by more than half, as if the blood met no resistance, converging entirely on the demon head. Wang Lin, help me. The danger here is far beyond what one man can handle. I'll explain everything later. Ling Tianho had chosen to flee here precisely because he had sensed someone teleport in. Of those still outside, the only one who had the strength to enter first was Wang Lin. The moment Wang Lin arrived, he saw Ling Tianho in such a pitiful state, sacrificing even the Kirin. A heavy sense of foreboding settled in Wang Lin's heart. Something terrible had happened after the others entered the 8th layer. He had to find out what. Resolve flashed in his eyes. Wang Lin stepped out of the black mist and, without wasting words on Ling Tianho, leapt into the air, ready to unleash a divine technique. All divine arts are useless against that thing. Worse, they'll only feed it. Ling Tianho shouted. At the same time, he slapped his storage pouch and drew out a crimson sword no bigger than a palm. With a wave, the sword shot forward like a streak of lightning. As it neared the demon head, Ling Tianho muttered in anguish, "Detonate." The sword exploded with a deafening boom, unleashing a devastating shockwave that surged into the demon head's body. A sharp, piercing screech rang out from within. In Wang Lin's eyes, this demon head was clearly an ancient demon. However, this ancient demon was peculiar. Although it resembled a robed demon, there was something distinctly different about it. In the left eye of this ancient demon, there were star points, 8 in total. 7 of them were dim, with only one glowing fiercely, emitting overwhelming demonic energy. At that moment, in pain, the star points in the ancient demon's left eye spun rapidly. The one that was shining released an even stronger demonic aura, making the demon seem eerie and ominous. With a roar, the ancient demon's body trembled as it broke free from the Kirin beast soul's entanglement, charging straight towards Ling Tianho. Wang Lin's pupils shrank, and his right hand clenched into a fist, launching a direct strike. An ancient god phantom appeared, merging into the black mist. Although it didn't fully reveal itself, the moment Wang Lin's fist struck, the ancient demon's body trembled, halting its charge toward Ling Tianho. It abruptly turned around, its demon eyes locking onto Wang Lin. It abandoned its pursuit of Ling Tianho and transformed into a shadowy figure, rushing towards Wang Lin. It was clear, it had recognized Wang Lin's ancient god aura. Wang Lin focused his mind, and immediately, a circular taiji symbol formed behind him, surrounded by black and white energy. With a swift grasp of his right hand in the air, the black and white energies interwoven, transforming into his Taoist artifact, the Kunji Whip. With the Kunji Whip in hand, Wang Lin flicked it, and instantly, a series of popping sounds echoed. The whip's surface revealed multiple layers of skin, and faint golden light shone from within. As the demon shadow approached, Wang Lin swept the Kunji Whip, striking the ancient demon with a resounding crack. The demon's body halted immediately, and as the whip passed, an enormous amount of demonic energy exploded. The demon let out a shrill scream, its eyes bloodshot as it was about to charge again. But Wang Lin's Kunji Whip swept again, roaring as it landed on the ancient demon, producing another crack. The demon trembled, and Wang Lin did not pause. With continuous strikes, the demon appeared to grow fearful of the whip and kept retreating. However, just as it retreated several dozen yards, the ancient demon suddenly contracted, transforming into a giant black handprint, roaring towards Wang Lin. Wang Lin, be careful. This demon palm can penetrate all defenses. Ling Tianho's heart jolted upon seeing the palm, the chest wound he had sustained caused by this very attack. The moment Wang Lin saw the palm, his eyes sparkled with brilliance. The enormous palm gave him a strong sense of familiarity. As it came crashing toward him, his gaze flickered, and he raised his right hand. The image of the terrifying strike from the Renegade Immortal world appeared in his mind, a strike he had once comprehended. I can also perform this strike. Back then, Wang Lin's cultivation was insufficient, but now, having reached the peak glimpse of nirvana and possessing an ancient god physique, the enormous strike from the Renegade Immortal world immediately resurfaced in his mind. It replaced all his thoughts, becoming eternal, and transformed into a powerful intent that surged into his right hand. With a sudden strike, the heavens and earth seemed to change color, and a tremendous rumble erupted from the ground. The surrounding black mist seemed to be swept away by a fierce wind, all retreating rapidly. The force of this strike was a domineering aura, as if heaven and earth itself were beneath his sole command. As he swung his hand, a massive handprint, capable of covering the entire sky, formed before him, pressing forward with a pressure that could not be described. In an instant, the massive handprint collided with the ancient demon's palm. There was a thunderous crash, and the earth trembled. The demon's palm instantly shattered, scattering into countless streams of demonic energy that formed the ancient demon's shape. At this moment, a look of horror appeared in the demon's eyes, and with a sharp scream, it began to retreat, attempting to flee. However, Wang Lin's strike did not dissipate. Instead, it surged forward with even greater force. The black mist of the 8th layer of the Immortal Emperor's abode retreated, and a long passage was forcefully carved out in front of Wang Lin. Under the pressure of the massive palm print, the ancient demon could not escape. Moments later, the palm print caught up with it and pierced through its body. A wretched, blood-curdling scream echoed as the ancient demon's body shattered. In that instant, its left eye flashed and shot forward. The palm print did not stop, continuing its relentless path forward. All obstacles in its way, including the pavilions, collapsed in an instant. As it reached the end, it collided with the edge of the palace at the center of the 8th layer. With a deafening crash, the massive palace at the center of the layer was destroyed halfway, revealing 99 candle holders. As the palm print swept past, only 2 candles still flickered in the holders. One of them swayed violently before finally extinguishing. The last remaining candle was also on the verge of going out, but it continued to struggle, fighting to stay alight. Ling Tianhou stared dumbfounded at the scene before him, drawing in a sharp breath. His eyes revealed disbelief, and at that moment, his heart was rocked by a storm of terror towards Wang Lin. Upon hearing Wang Lin's words, Ling Tianhou immediately followed behind him. His gaze towards Wang Lin became more cautious, and he grew increasingly unable to fathom this person. Although he believed his cultivation level might be higher than Wang Lin's, he knew deep down that if they truly fought, he, Ling Tianhou, would be utterly defeated without a doubt. Wang Lin moved like lightning, heading straight ahead. In no time, he reached the center of the massive palace, which had been half destroyed. As he moved, he cast a cold glance at Ling Tianhou following behind him, then took a large handful of pills and swallowed them. With a flick of his storage pouch, a silver flash appeared, and the silver-clad woman appeared at his side. Her icy gaze swept over Ling Tianhou. Ling Tianhou's pupils contracted again, and his heart was filled with an even greater sense of awe and confusion towards Wang Lin. This person is beyond my comprehension, whether it's his cultivation, divine abilities, or everything else. Only the words beyond comprehension can describe him. Ling Tianhou had only ever used the phrase beyond comprehension for one other person, Tian Yunzi. Now, there was one more. Wang Lin didn't use the wax pill that Wang Wei had given him. Instead, he swallowed an ordinary immortal pill to quickly replenish the terrifying primordial energy he had lost from the previous strike. This energy loss seemed no less than what he had expended when wielding the iron sword earlier. However, after leaving the magma, besides the fire elemental energy that naturally circulated in his body, Wang Lin also had a large amount of free elemental power within him, which had been absorbed by his vermilion bird totem during his months of meditation and cultivation. During that time, Wang Lin discovered that the fire elemental energy absorbed by his vermilion bird totem could circulate within his body. This discovery was exactly why Wang Lin had stayed in the magma for such an extended period. He swallowed the immortal pill, not using the fire elemental energy from the vermilion bird totem, but instead absorbing the free elemental power within his body. With the help of the pill, Wang Lin regained some strength. Soon, he arrived at the center of the ruined palace. The candle holder inside, the last remaining object, was still struggling to burn. The hall was empty. Wang Lin entered, scanned the room, and calmly spoke. What happened here? Ling Tianho followed him into the hall, his face filled with lingering fear. He spoke. When we entered from the 7th layer, there was no black mist here. But as soon as we opened the entrance to the 9th layer, 3 demonic shadows rushed out from it, immediately filling the area with black mist. These 3 shadows were too strange. Void Master was instantly gravely injured. Even Wang Wei got caught up in a battle after Bei Luo's sudden ambush. Tian Yunzi also made a move, helping Bei Luo. As for Huan, she didn't even have a chance to act before she was sucked into the 9th layer. Ling Tianho briefly recounted the events. As Wang Lin listened, his brow furrowed in thought, and his heart secretly trembled. Tian Yunzi helping Bei Luo wasn't unexpected. Tian Yunzi had visited this land of demonic spirits countless times. Wang Lin didn't believe that Tian Yunzi wasn't in contact with the ancient demons. Moreover, he vividly remembered an incident at Tian Yun's sect, when the purple-clad senior brother had used a demonic-like divine technique. That moment was deeply etched in his memory. The more Wang Lin came into contact with such matters, the more convinced he became of his suspicions, especially since he had obtained the body of a rogue demon in this very place. That body was none other than Ling Tianho's, just much younger. The body still remained in Wang Lin's storage pouch, and he was certain that if he took it out now, Ling Tianho's face would change drastically. Even Tian Yunzi would likely show a change in expression. Ancient demon, ancient beast, Tian Yunzi, Ling Tianho. There must be some strange connection between them. Wang Lin remained calm as he carefully surveyed the ruins of the palace. His gaze lingered briefly on the single candle still burning. How do we open this place? Wang Lin asked. He had to go to the 9th layer, regardless of the danger. Whether it was Zhou Yi or Situ Nan, he had to go. Even though Situ Nan hadn't entered, Wang Lin was sure that with Situ Nan's cultivation, there would be no danger in the earlier layers. But Zhou Yi was in the 9th layer. Situ Nan's chance of being cured lay in the 9th layer. These 2 people, who had saved his life, how could Wang Lin abandon them? Even knowing the risks of the 9th layer, if he gave up because of the danger, he would be betraying his humanity. Are you really going in? Ling Tianho hesitated for a moment. Wang Lin nodded. Ling Tianho remained silent for a moment, a trace of madness flashing in his eyes. He muttered, forget it. Your cultivation is far behind mine, but you still have such courage. My beloved beast was destroyed by that demonic creature, and all my life's cultivation of the overbearing intent will be in vain if I leave now. I won't be satisfied. Tian Yunzi dares to enter, so why should I be afraid? He stepped forward, heading straight for the candle holder on the ground. Following the method Huan had used to activate it earlier, he quickly adjusted the candle holder several times. Immediately, the 99 candle holders began to move slowly, emitting a thunderous sound. As they shifted, they seemed to form a massive formation. A mysterious light emanated from the candle holder array, flashing violently, and at the points of the candle holders, a phantom light circle appeared, from which dense black mist poured out wildly. Gritting his teeth, Ling Tianho was the first to charge into the light circle, disappearing without a trace. Wang Lin did not hesitate. After taking a deep breath and storing the silver-clad woman's body, he stepped into the light circle as well. The moment Wang Lin and Ling Tianho entered the last level of the Immortal Emperor's Cave, the 9th layer, the figure in the black mist sitting in the throne of the hall, which was identical to the previous 8 layers, suddenly lifted its head. Struggling appeared in its eyes, and above its forehead, a single light point flickered. Surrounding the light point was an endless swirl of black mist, constantly clashing as if trying to devour it. Outside the hall, the booming sounds continued, and the roars echoed like thunder. Clearly, there was an intense battle raging outside the hall. The people outside, nearly all of them injured, surrounded the hall. The area was now swarming with countless demonic shadows, which charged out with a bloodthirsty frenzy, clashing with the surrounding cultivators. No matter how the cultivators attacked, the demonic shadows refused to disperse. When forced to retreat, some of the shadows even exploded, forming a devastating shockwave that spread outward, creating chaos and forcing everyone into close combat. Voidmaster's face turned pale. Sitting cross-legged nearby, he spat out a mouthful of black blood, quickly tapping several times in front of him to suppress his injuries. Next to him, the man in black had no color in his face either. Sitting cross-legged, his eyes fixed ahead. Tian Yunzi's sleeves swept across, each motion conjuring a magnificent divine technique that broke through the incoming demonic shadows. As for Wang Wei, his expression darkened, and a vast water barrier surrounded his body as he aggressively launched his attacks forward. His madness stemmed from two reasons. First, his master, Qing Lin, and second, Huan. After Huan opened the ninth layer, she was immediately sucked in, distracting Wang Wei. This gave Bei Luo the chance to intervene, and Tian Yunzi helped, injuring Wang Wei. However, with too many pills in his possession, Wang Wei couldn't fight Bei Luo and Tian Yunzi directly. Instead, he rushed into the ninth layer to search for Huan. On the other side, Bei Luo's body radiated demonic energy, forming a fiery demon flame that soared. Amidst the demonic energy, an ancient demon phantom appeared. Though it looked like a phantom, it was nearly solid, exuding a strange, demonic aura. Every time he raised his hand, divine techniques would emerge, continuously clashing with the countless demonic shadows in the black mist ahead. He shouted, "Tajia, your demon shadow art consumes too much demonic power. Let's see how much you have left to burn." A raspy voice, chilling to the bone, responded from the shadows, sending a wave of dread through everyone nearby. The voice was distant and ethereal, yet filled with a terrifying demonic might. "Bei Luo, when this demon completes the soul seizing, you will know how much power I possess now." Hearing this, Wang Wei's eyes reddened. He immediately formed a seal with both hands, summoning a vast blue light that quickly transformed into an overwhelming ocean, spreading across the sky like a real sea. With a low growl from Wang Wei, the immense ocean crashed down from the sky, charging toward the black mist outside the hall. The Gourd Elder also used his divine techniques, casting countless spells toward the black mist, engaging in a fierce battle with the demonic shadows inside. At that moment, Zhou Yi was present too, but his body seemed even weaker. His eyes were filled with anxiety as he stared at the black mist. The overwhelming demonic energy made it hard for his spirit body to resist its infiltration. Just then, Wang Lin and Ling Tianho suddenly arrived. The ninth layer wasn't large, with only the central palace as the significant structure. Upon entering, the two immediately saw the fierce battle unfolding ahead of them. Especially striking was the ancient demon phantom of Bei Luo and the raging ocean of Wang Wei. At that moment, Tian Yunzi's eyes gleamed with a strange light as he raised his right hand and pointed to the sky, muttering softly, "Finger of heavenly fortune." As soon as the words were spoken, a massive whirlpool suddenly appeared in the ocean created by Wang Wei's divine ability. A heavy pressure descended from the sky, and under this pressure, a giant finger stretched out from the sea, stabbing fiercely toward the palace below, which was shrouded in black mist. With the ancient demon phantom pointing forward, the 23 green banners immediately radiated an unimaginable pressure. From within them emerged various ancient gods and demons, as well as some fierce beasts from the primeval era. The entire world seemed to tremble. At this moment, all kinds of divine abilities descended from the heavens, heading straight for the demonic mist outside the palace. Voidmaster, gritting his teeth, was about to take action, but upon sensing Wang Lin's arrival, he immediately halted his attack. The black-clad man beside him also refrained from making a move, his eyes gleaming with greed. Opening this palace meant dealing a heavy blow to the immortal Emperor Qing Lin, and even though there were ancient demons present, their numbers were vast, and they were not lacking in powerful cultivators. Even these ancient demons might have to die here. As long as I get 3 drops of Qing Lin's blood, my mission will be complete. At that time, my master will surely help me raise my cultivation. Even the Gourd Elder's eyes flashed with greed. He had followed Tian Yunzi here without much trouble. His purpose in coming was not to uncover the secret of the third step from Qinglin, but to acquire Qinglin's divine arts and immortal techniques. With the divine abilities of Tian Yunzi, the ancient demon, and Wang Wei crashing down, the entire earth trembled violently. Countless cracks appeared in the ground, as if it were about to collapse. As Tian Yunzi's finger descended, the earth completely shattered with a mighty crash. Even the immortal emperor's cave abode began to shake violently. The impact reached all the way to the 9th layer, affecting almost everything. Moreover, with the many phantoms summoned from the green banners of the ancient demon, the shockwaves spread far beyond the immortal emperor's cave, rattling the entire land of demonic spirits. The collapse of the ground immediately turned the 9th layer into ruins. As the 3 divine abilities descended, the ancient demon's hoarse roar echoed madly. The black mist outside the palace swept through the sky, directly colliding with the 3 powerful figures. Boom, boom, boom. Thunderous sounds echoed, and Wang Lin and Ling Tianho immediately flew forward. Before they even got close, they could already feel the unimaginable force of the shockwaves. But just as the divine abilities collided with the black mist, causing the heavens and earth to tremble and stirring up the winds and clouds, something shocking occurred in the palace on the 8th layer. The last candle flame, after flickering violently for a moment, slowly extinguished. The instant the candle extinguished, the light on the forehead of the middle-aged man sitting in the chair in the 9th layer's black mist disappeared, and the surrounding demonic energy immediately surged in, filling his entire spiritual platform. At that moment, the man abruptly lifted his head. The murkiness in his eyes vanished, replaced by an indescribable, terrifying demonic flame. Especially in his left eye, 8 star-like points spun rapidly. A cold smile appeared on his lips, and his body slowly rose from the chair. He had been sitting here for countless millennia, his body barely able to move in all that time. But now he moved. The instant the middle-aged man stood, a surge of demonic energy erupted. The palace where he sat cracked with a series of sharp sounds, splitting into countless fissures. With a loud crash, it completely collapsed, sweeping outwards in all directions. As the palace collapsed, the black mist outside was also sucked inward, swirling madly into the man's body. A set of black armor appeared on him in an instant. At this moment, Wang Wei, standing outside the palace, watched in horror as it crumbled. His eyes were filled with shock and pain as he saw the blurry figure within the ruins. Master, Tian Yunzi's eyes revealed an unusual madness. He had waited for this day for so long. On the other side, the ancient demon Beluo sucked in a sharp breath, his eyes immediately filled with murderous intent. He's just successfully taken over the body and hasn't stabilized yet. I can't let him consolidate his position. At the same time, as the man stood, all the restrictions within the immortal emperor's cave from the 1st to the 8th layer flickered wildly. It was as if they were cheering, then they shattered with a thunderous roar. What was even more terrifying was that the land of demonic spirits, which had only just been purged of demonic energy and transformed into the celestial spirit heavenly realm, was now immediately flooded with endless demonic energy. The mist swept through the entire sky, covering the entire celestial spirit heavenly realm in a moment. All the immortal beasts, which had just regained their strength, were instantly swept away by the demonic energy. When the mist passed, what was revealed were ferocious beasts with bloodthirsty eyes. Not only in the land of demonic spirits, but even the vast starry sky surrounding it was now engulfed by demonic aura in an instant. A massive illusory demonic shadow materialized in the sky, letting out a long, earth-shattering laugh. The laughter was soundless, yet in that moment, it covered the entire Alliance star domain. It was a power so unimaginable that even the northern part of the Alliance star domain, which had been embroiled in war for half a year, continued to rage. Countless cultivators on both sides had already turned to dust. Yet this merciless war had driven both factions to the point of bloodlust. A large number of Luotian cultivators poured in from the Luotian star domain, while the Cultivation Alliance had dispatched many of its own cultivators. The northern part of the Alliance star domain seemed to be soaked in a thick, bloody stench. Even Yin Lazy was now on the verge of madness in his killing spree. But in the midst of this endless slaughter, that soundless, wild laughter spread everywhere. Yin Lazy's body trembled uncontrollably, and even the elder from the Alliance, whom he was fighting, displayed a look of horror in his eyes. It wasn't just them. Even the common cultivators around them began to shudder inexplicably, all puzzled and unaware of the cause. Farther away, at the headquarters of the Cultivation Alliance, some surviving immortals who had escaped the destruction of the immortal realm, such as Wang Wei and Hu Wan, were preparing to leave and join the turmoil in the northern part of the Alliance. They were the backbone of the Cultivation Alliance. But in that instant, that soundless, insane laugh passed through their ears. All of these former immortals were suddenly struck with profound fear, their faces changing drastically. This sound is Immortal Emperor Qing Lin. Even deep inside the headquarters of the Cultivation Alliance, in the secret chamber of a middle-aged man floating inside a vortex, his eyes snapped open. The moment his eyes opened, the bell at the top of the chamber suddenly exploded with a loud crash. Immortal Emperor. At the same time, within the Kungsu realm, the elder who had discovered Wang Lin earlier suddenly looked up. His gaze seemed to pierce through countless layers and fix upon the land of demonic spirits. His expression was unusually serious. Beside him, the icy-cold holy maiden Mu Bingmei of Kungsu also froze in shock. He's awake. No, it's not him. The elder's expression shifted, seeming to be filled with melancholy, as if he had just let out a sigh of relief, but also with a sense of disappointment. At this moment, deep within the Fire Sea Star domain, an area forbidden to the Cultivation Alliance, the deepest part of this domain, the very source of the Fire Sea, lay a Tinjong-sized stone. The stone was irregular, not red, but pure white. Yet the heat emanating from it was unimaginable. Even Wang Lin, approaching within 100 zhong, would immediately melt away, and even the vermilion bird would die instantly. The 5-star ancient gods would also perish within this 100 zhong radius. This seemingly ordinary stone was the very source of the Fire Sea Star domain. Its existence caused this place to burn endlessly, as though it was eternally trapped in time. At this moment, an elder sat cross-legged upon the stone. His appearance was incredibly aged, his skin sagging and emitting a strong aura of death. From a distance, it looked less like a person and more like a lump of decaying flesh. But no one dared to underestimate this elder. He was the Vermilion Sacred Emperor of the Four Saints sect. Even in his prime, he had been renowned across the starry sky. Had it not been for special circumstances preventing his entry into the immortal realm, he would have had his place there. At this moment, the elder opened his eyes and gazed ahead, a trace of melancholy in his expression. Could it be that the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect really cannot rise again? Meanwhile, in the starry sky, a 6th-level cultivation star, barely noticed by cultivators and easily ignored, quietly floated. This star was called Vermilion Bird Star. Inside this star, at the place where the mist turned to sea, in the land of ancient gods, a red-haired man slowly lifted his head, a trace of disdain in his eyes. 8-star ancient demon, just a waste. In another 100 years, I, Tua's son, will be able to leave this place. At that time, will there be anyone in this world who can stop me? With Tua Sen's words, the sea of blood surged violently, forming a towering wave. Within Vermilion Bird Star, the land of ancient gods, which had been separated by 2 into a void space, was where his physical body was stored. The massive size of his body was incompatible with the space, making even a cultivation star seem like a child's toy in comparison. The rough skin, enormous fists, and a staggering pressure radiated throughout the void space. But at this moment, as the sea of blood surged and Tua Sen's voice echoed, the massive ancient god's right index finger suddenly twitched.